Hello, first graders. So today for our STEM activity, we're going to do an activity called Desert Animal Adaptations. Last Thursday, we began our desert exploration with Desert 101, where you learned a little bit about deserts around the world. And then on Tuesday, you got your introduction to animal adaptations in the Arctic desert with the rabbit, the fox, and the bird. So today, we're going to do a really cool activity where we learn about desert animal adaptations, and then you're going to get to create your very own desert animal species. One second. So, what is a desert? A desert is a hot or cold place that doesn't get very much precipitation or rain at all, about 10 inches per year. So a desert can have a lot of sand here in the middle, rocks, mostly rocks, and some dirt here on the right, and even a lot of ice and snow in the Arctic and the Antarctic regions of the world. So where are deserts located? As you can see, deserts are located on every continent around the world. South America, in Chile, in Argentina, Peru, Colombia with La Guajira, in North America, in Africa, Asia, Europe, and Oceania as well. So what does the word adaptation mean? So an adaptation is when an animal becomes better suited to its environment. And a great example that we learned about on Thursday is the snowshoe hare. And this animal has adapted to its environment so well that during the winter when there's snow, its fur is white and thick and warm. And in the summer, it turns brown and tan so it can blend in with the plants and the dirt and the rocks when there's no snow. And the hair is much thinner and it helps them stay cool. So why do animals adapt? And just like all animals around the world, all they want to do is survive. So adapting is the best way to make that happen. So desert animals need to eat plants or other animals, drink water, and protect themselves from other predators to stay alive. And every adaptation helps them do one of those three things. But how do they do that? So by adapting and changing their bodies very slowly over time, through having lots of babies and generations of animals, that's how they adapt. They change a little tiny bit every time they have a new animal, a new baby. So it's a great example is just like the birds that we were studying at school. And so another term for this is evolution. Okay. So for example here, if we look at the gray warbler finch, this beak is very small. It's the same type of bird, but their beak has changed depending on or adapted or evolved depending on the food that it eats and where it lives. So the first very obvious way that desert animals have adapted is with their ears. And the reason these ears are so different is about two things. So lots of animals have very large ears, like the rabbit, the fox, the mouse, and the bat. And all that, the reason they have those large ears is so the heat inside their bodies can exit through their ears, and that helps them stay cool. The other way that animals have adapted their ears is by having very hairy ears. And as you know, in the desert, there's lots of sand and dirt and dust flying around all over the place. And so these animals don't want sand and dirt in their ears. So they grew hairs that cover their ears and block the sand from getting in. Okay? So when you create your animal, you'll want to choose very large ears or hairy ears. The next way that desert animals have adapted is with their eyes. And one thing that they've done is they've grown very large eyebrows that stick out and hang over their ears. It's kind of like wearing a hat, how humans wear hats over their ears. So as you can see with the camel and the emu and this horned rattlesnake here, the eyebrows stick out and hang over their eyes, and that protects their eyes from the sun, which is shining all the time in the desert. Another way is with very long eyelashes. So humans have eyelashes, but just a few, because we want to keep things out of our eyes. And as I said, with the hairy ears, there's dust and sand flying all over the place all the time in the desert, especially when it's windy. And so as you can see with the camel has 1, 2, 3 sets of eyelashes. This here is a giraffe, and the giraffe has 1, 2 sets of eyelashes that are very long. This bird here is a desert eagle, and look at this bird's eyelashes. It hangs way out over the eye. And this is an ostrich. And so this ostrich has eyelashes on the very long eyelashes on the top, on the bottom, and around its mouth right here. The next way that many desert animals have adapted is what they have covering their skin. So here we have a desert lizard that is completely covered in spikes. That is all about protection, making sure that other animals would never want to eat this lizard because, well, they would get a mouthful of spikes. And as you know, in the desert, there are many snakes, including the rattlesnake, and their body is totally covered in scales. And these scales are like armor, and they lay on top of each other, and that prevents the heat from getting in. That helps helps prevent sand from getting into their bodies. And the next way is mammals that live in the desert. And as you can see through this animal here, this animal is completely covered in fur that blends right in with the dirt that is around it. And so that helps them camouflage and blend in right with, so the predators can't find them. Now, the next one is all about protection. When there's animals around, how does it fight? How does it scare predators away? And how does it blend in? So the first one here is a desert scorpion, and those animals have a stinger. There's also some ants that have stingers as well that live in the desert. So because of this stinger, animals are very reluctant to try and eat the scorpion because they don't want to be stung. The next one is found in a lot of desert snakes, and that is poison. So as you can see, this fang here has poison dripping out, and so eagles and coyotes and wolves, they don't want to try to eat the snakes because they'll get bitten and have poison inside of them. Then up here we have a desert pig, and with very, very long canine, very sharp teeth. And so they use these teeth both for hunting their prey and for protecting themselves from other predators like cougars. The next one here is called mimicry. So as you can see, this gecko here is very, very hard to see. And this gecko, through many, many, many years, thousands of years, has become closer and closer and closer to the same color as the rocks that they live on. And so it just blends right in. The pattern of the stripes, the dots on its back, and the color pattern of its body. And the next one is horns. And so lots of deer and other four-legged mammals that have hooves have horns, and that they use those to fend off predators from eating them. Okay, so the next one here is the adaptations of the feet. So there are two ways that they have adapted. So the first one is they have very large, flat feet. Well, why do they need that? Because in the desert, there's so much sand that if their feet were really small, the feet would just sink right into the sand. But when the feet are very flat and large, it just goes right on top of the sand and it doesn't sink in. So these large camel feet and these very, very large mouse feet for compared to its body, and these very large and flat hooves prevent them from sinking into the sand. As you know, the desert is very hot. And if you've ever been outside when it's very hot in your bare feet, it hurts when you put your feet on a very hot thing like sand. And so what animals how animals have adapted is by having very furry feet. So this fox foot here has fur covering the bottom of its feet, and that is like a protection. It's like a coat for a layer of protection on their feet. And as you can see, this wild desert cat here also has very furry feet. So when you create your animal, you'll want to give your desert animal very large fat feet, flat feet, or furry feet to help protect it from the hot sand or hot dirt and rocks. Okay, so now it is your turn. So what you're going to do, you are going to create your own desert animal species. Okay, so it is your turn to create your very own animal species. Combine the desert animal adaptations you just learned about with eyes and ears, with the skin, with what do they use for protection, and their feet. Okay, so you're going to create your very own animal species that will survive in the desert. You have to give it your very own name as well. Okay, so here we have some guiding questions for you. What will it get? Sorry, they're supposed to say how. How will it get food and water? Okay, how will your animal defend itself? What will it use for protection? How small, medium, or large will it be? Okay, so what will the body look like? Will it have fur, scales, or spikes? And what color will it be? Okay, so what color will the body be? How will it blend in? What will the eyes and ears look like? Okay, will they be big ears or hairy ears? Will their eyes be very big? Will their eyes have very long eyelashes? Will their eyes have very big eyebrows? I don't know, it's up to you. And what will their feet and legs look like? Okay? So if you need some help, you can always restart this video again and go through one adaptation at a time to help you create your video. Can't wait to see all of your creations. Good luck.